So this is what the flower looks like. And when we talk about Nigella sativa, that's the Latin name, but it's often referred to as black seed oil or black cumin seed oil, sometimes as black caraway, but usually it's either black cumin seed or black seed oil. And it is an annual flowering plant. It's in the buttercup family, and it's native to Southwest Asia. It can grow up to about a foot tall, and it has finely divided, like linear leaves. The flowers are delicate and usually colored pale blue and white with 5 to 10 petals. Nigella sativa has been used extensively as an herbal remedy and as a food condiment for at least 3,000 years. So this is what the fruit looks like. And it's kind of got a pod, and when you open that up, you see all the little seeds in there. So the seeds have been used as a spice, and in like India and other places, they've used it as a replacement for black cumin. And when they're dried out, that's what they look like. They're really tiny. So it's been used in cooking for quite some time. In India, the Middle East, it's been really big. The black seeds taste like a combination of onions, black pepper, oregano, a little bit of a clove-like taste to it. It's described as being pungent, bitter, in both taste and smell. The dry roasted seeds flavor curries, vegetables. They can be used as like pepper in recipes with vegetable salads and poultry. In some cultures, the black seeds are used to flavor bread products and are used as part of a spice mixture for breads like naan in the Indian culture. I like this recipe. There are recipes out there. This is a soup, a vegetable and black seed soup. So you can look out there and use the seeds in a culinary way. The earliest written reference is in the book of Isaiah in the Old Testament, where it is referred to as ketza, which is a spice for bread and cakes that can be used in many ways. Easton's Bible Dictionary clarifies that the Hebrew word for black cumin, ketza, refers to Nigella sativa. Isaiah compares the reaping of black cumin with wheat. For the black cumin is not threshed with a threshing sledge, nor is a cartwheel rolled over the cumin, but the black cumin is beaten out with a stick and the wheat with a rod. So it was recommended by the Prophet Muhammad, and he said, "Hold on to the use of black seed, for indeed it has a remedy for every disease except death." And so hold on means like basically use it regularly, take it daily. In ancient Egypt, Cleopatra used it for its health and beauty giving qualities. Queen Nefertiti, praised for her exquisite complexion, was an avid user of black cumin seed oil. And physicians in Pharaoh's times used black seed as a remedy for colds, headaches, digestive disorders, toothaches, infections, inflammatory disorders, and allergies. A lot of the same things that we use it today when we've done the research. King Tut, the oil of the black cumin was found in King Tut's tomb, which indicates that it formed part of the carefully entombed items to assist the king in the afterlife. So it was really important in their culture. The seeds with honey were also found in the tomb, and the seeds are still usable today. So Hippocrates in the 5th century, he regarded Nigella sativa as a valuable remedy in hepatic and digestive disorders. His list of remedies include the treatment of snake bites and scorpion stings, old tumors, abscesses, and skin rashes. A series of remedies against colds and inflammations in the area of the head were recommended, and the This language appeared like sort of unchanged in the German medicinal encyclopedia of the 16th and 18th centuries as well. A short time later, it was used by the Greek physician Dioscorides, who described the plant clearly under the name of melanthine in his 5-volume Pharmacology De Materia Medica, which was used as a reference for healing with herbs in the Middle Ages. He used black cumin seed oil to treat headaches, nasal congestion, toothache, and intestinal parasites. Despite the long and impressive history of use, black seed was almost unknown in the West until fairly recently. Scientific research into the black cumin seed only began in the early 1970s, but steadily increased as investigators realized its extraordinary therapeutic potential, influencing every organ and system in the body. So these are a number of the research properties. It helps with pain. It is a very potent antioxidant. It is a strong anti-inflammatory. It is antimicrobial. It also modulates the immune system. It bronchodilates. It opens up the lungs. It brings down blood pressure. It protects the kidneys. It is an antihistamine, so used for allergies. It is anti-tumor, so it works against cancers. It's also very helpful for diabetes. It protects the liver. It is also very protective for the GI tract. And it helps, it's a spasmolytic. It helps with like muscle spasms. So there are a number of constituents that have been isolated, or various compounds that make up black cumin seed oil. So chief among them include Thymoquinone, which in the seed is like 30 to 48%. So that's the largest one, and a lot of research is Thymoquinone, or is on Thymoquinone. But there's a lot of other components, including Thymol, Thymo, hydroquinone, dithymoquinone, some terpenes, and some other compounds. So there's also, it's an oil, so it's very high in linoleic acid and some other unsaturated fatty acids. So more of the omega-6, not omega-3. Scientists have been able to isolate the various active compounds that make up oil, and we talked about Thymoquinone. So Thymoquinone is an active ingredient in black seeds, and researchers have been investigating it since the 60s. It is well known for its antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and anti-cancer properties. There's more and more research on its effect on diabetes, cardiovascular disease, liver damage, Alzheimer's, cancer, and it's very neuroprotective. One of the most potent natural, it is one of the most potent natural acetylcholinesterase inhibitors on the planet. ACHE inhibitors are chemicals that stop enzyme activity, which increases the amount of time and the amount of neurotransmitter acetylcholine, so it keeps that active in the brain. There's a pharmaceutical grade acetylcholinesterase inhibitors, and they're used medically to treat a wide range of conditions, including Alzheimer's, autism, Parkinson's disease, glaucoma, and schizophrenia. So this oil will have some effect that's similar to those medications. Thymol is another active ingredient, and it gives it's potent in the essential oils, and it gives a lot of its medicinal properties. It's commonly used, or it has been commonly used for like tuberculosis and to kill other viruses as well. It's also used as a disinfectant. It is a rapidly degrading, non-persisting pesticide. So thymol is in some of the, like if you've seen, I want to make sure I'm saying this right. I'm pretty sure that the disinfectant like that Cleanwell makes. You may have seen it. That is the active ingredient is thymol. So thymol you can get in other essential oils, like from other products. And I believe it, is found in thyme. That's why it's Thymol or Thymol. And kind of on that note, like we did a lot of research on for the practice, and also my wife's an esthetician, and so we were looking at this more natural like disinfectants, and the FDA has cleared thymol and some of these products as a disinfectant. Black seed oil benefits a lot of different conditions. So it's helpful for cancer, diabetes, obesity. So it helps with weight loss, liver protection, hair loss, skin disorders, other infections, and inflammation. So I always think it's really important to be empowered. So anytime I make a recommendation from patients, I always send emails of information about why I'm recommending something. And a good place to search on your own if you want to find out, say you have a thought what is black seed oil good for? You can go on to, it used to be PubMed.com. I think if you type in PubMed.com, I think it'll still take you to NCBI. But a lot of times if you just research, if you just Googled Nigella sativa oil, and let's say there's a condition you're concerned about, you can type in the name and the condition, and then a lot of times you'll be led to that database, and this is what all doctors use if they want to do research. And so, these are some examples. I think I just typed in Nigella sativa. This was years ago. And 1,196 articles came up that, reference Nigella sativa. Now, some of those may not be directly related. Sometimes they'll list a lot of other herbs or other things, but there's quite a bit of research. Again, lists all the different articles so you can read through which article interests you, and then you can open up. So these are all in scientific journals. So kind of a summary of the current research. I liked this graph. So this is a few years old. Like I said, I'm going to bring in some new articles at the end of the presentation. But I like how it's sort of systems oriented. Very hard to read those, huh? Let me make this bigger and I'll read some of them off of here.
That's better.
Oh, that's why I did that. Yeah, there we go. So the upper respiratory system, it's helps with rhinitis, pharyngitis. It helps with your tonsils. And cardiovascular effects, it has a hypoglycemic effect, so it lowers blood sugar, it lowers your blood pressure, it helps with cholesterol. It's very anti-inflammatory, so it'll deal with inflammation, cardiovascular inflammation. It has very strong neurological effects. It reduces seizures in epilepsy patients. It helps cognition, memory, and attention. It helps with opioid withdrawal effects. So basically, this article, they summarized some of this research, which is really cool. So there's research that backs up these claims. It has effects like rheumatological effects. So it helps with rheumatoid arthritis. It helps with joint pain. It has a lot of dermatological effects, both when you take it orally and if you use it topically. So vitiligo, eczema, skin rashes from celiac patients. There's quite a bit of research on it for psoriasis as well. And it also has it helps with pain if you use it topically. It can help with itching. I think the next slide will go into the abdomen. Okay. So on the respiratory tract, it opens up, has a bronchodilatory effect, so helps with asthma. And I guess they've done research on chemical war victims. It has a very strong hepatoprotective effect, so it helps with the viral load, so it helps kill off the virus, and it improves liver function and hepatitis C. Helps with like methotrexate toxicity, a lot of other toxins. There's research that it helps like regenerate the liver. It helps with body weight. It's been shown to help sperm, so for fertility. It has definitely anti-parasitic effects. It kills off H. pylori. I think we'll go into a study where it's been compared to the triple antibiotics. Other stomach issues. So let's talk a little bit about its effect for cancer. So Thymoquinone is known to have anti-cancer effects. It has been studied for cancers, blood cancers, cancers in the lung, kidney, liver, prostate, breast, cervix, colon, and skin. Research published in Drug Discovery Today concluded Thymoquinone has a long history of battling cancer in vitro, so in the test tube in labs, and also in vivo, which means like with the patient, in both in animal studies as well. They did a study in Croatia where they evaluated the anti-tumor activity of Thymoquinone and thymohydroquinone in mice and discovered that the two phytochemicals in black seed oil resulted in 52% decrease in tumor cells. That was 2006. So it works, has a number of different mechanisms of how it helps with cancer. It has an anti-proliferative effect, so it keeps it from growing. It also kills the cancer cells. It slows down like the cell cycle, so it stops the growth. It generates reactive oxygen species, which helps. It can help prevent metastasis and prevent new blood supply because as tumors grow, they need to increase blood supply to keep the tumors alive and to help them to grow. So if you can decrease the blood supply to the tumors, that helps shrink or kill the tumors. It's also very useful adjunctively, so you can use it together with chemo and radiation. The anti-tumor effects of Thymoquinone have also been investigated in tumor xenograft mice for colon, prostate, pancreatic, and lung cancer. The combination with chemotherapy produced greater effects as well as reduce the toxicity of the chemotherapy. So this was published in 2012. So there are a number of substances that do that make chemo or radiation more effective and also decrease some of the side effects. So I work with a lot of cancer patients together with their oncologists, and so often we will use black seed oil with their treatments. And then because it has such a strong effect for the skin, you can use it to help protect the skin from radiation as well, topically. So in diabetes, it's one of the few substances that is suggested to help prevent both type 1 and type 2. It causes gradual partial regeneration of pancreatic beta cells. Those are the cells that secrete insulin. It also increases the lowered serum insulin concentrations and decreases the elevated blood sugar. So it helps with insulin resistance, and it also helps lower the blood sugars. So this was an article in 2011. Nigella sativa may be beneficial in diabetic individuals and those with glucose intolerance as it reduces appetite, glucose absorption in the intestine, hepatic gluconeogenesis, so the liver makes blood sugar. It decreases total blood glucose levels. It decreases cholesterol, triglycerides. It helps with body weight and stimulates glucose-induced secretion of insulin from beta cells in the pancreas. It improves glucose tolerance as efficiently as metformin, yet it has not shown significant adverse effects and has very low toxicity. When people with diabetes consume 2 grams of black cumin per day for 3 months, it led to reductions in fasting blood sugar and hemoglobin A1C. It also increased the functionality of pancreatic beta cells, which suggests black cumin may be a beneficial adjuvant therapy in type 2 diabetes. So this was a different article in 2014. Black cumin is associated with anti-obesity effects, including reductions in body weight and waist and hip circumference, with researchers noting Nigella sativa showed a significant, it showed significant weight loss. And this was a review article. In 2013, the Journal of Diabetes and Metabolism. So the liver is one of the most important organs in the body. Nearly every toxin gets processed through the liver, and the bile from the liver is the key to digesting fats and keeping your mind and body happy and healthy. For those that have struggled with poor liver function due to medication side effects, alcohol consumption, or viral disease, black seed oil could greatly speed the healing process. In a recent study, scientists discovered that black seed oil benefits the function of the liver and helps prevent both damage and disease. So this was 2018, and so they were looking at all the different ways it can help with hepatic disorders. Probably one of the most unique black seed oil benefits is its uncanny ability to help restore hair loss. No one quite understands why it happens, but it's not too hard to guess that it has something to do with its powerful antioxidant and antimicrobial properties. By strengthening hair follicles, there is a very good reason to see how black seed oil can help promote strengthened hair roots. So it can be used topically, and it can also be used orally. But so, Cleopatra and traditionally they've used that oil topically. So it's used, like I said, for a lot of skin disorders. So Nigella sativa has been used topically for centuries for the treatment of many skin conditions. For example, it has been used for acne, for burns, for wounds, as an anti-inflammatory for different kinds of skin inflammation, including infection, eczema, acne, psoriasis. It has also been shown to be helpful for hypopigmentation, including vitiligo. Studies have shown black seed oil to be very effective for healing wounds. It has been shown to be superior to healing wounds when compared to silver, likely due to its anti-inflammatory and immunomodulatory effects. It increases collagen formation. It increases the rate of epithelialization. It makes healthier epithelial cells in the skin and has a strong moisturizing effect. When an increase of Nigella sativa seed was applied on the skin, it improved the healing process by decreasing the total and absolute white blood cell count, reduced tissue damage, and decreased bacterial expansion. So I like that early wound care. Apply and hold it there. It's highly absorbent and will speed healing. I often joke about using especially during the pandemic. So doing things remotely, we can do that through, for naturopathic consultations, but how do you give acupuncture remotely? So I always thought if you trained a porcupine or a hedgehog, where to walk, then maybe we'll get some needles where they need to go. So of all the superbugs that black seed oil can kill, MRSA is one of the most important. So MRSA is plaguing hospitals and nursing homes across the globe because ordinary staph infections are becoming resistant to generic antibiotics. The elderly population is especially at risk because it is generally associated with invasive procedures such as surgeries, IV tubing, artificial joints, etc. Primarily due to a weakened immunity, the growing population of senior citizens has made MRSA a global public health risk. Thankfully, one of the strongest black seed oil benefits may help. So Pakistan scientists took several strains of MRSA and discovered that each one was sensitive to Nigella sativa, proving that black seed oil can help slow down or stop MRSA from spreading out of control. So antibacterial activity of Nigella sativa against clinical isolates of MRSA, like that's the methicillin-resistant Staph aureus, was investigated in 2008. All the tested strains of MRSA were sensitive to an alcohol extract of Nigella sativa. The antibacterial activity against, so it was also used, for, like I said, for triple therapy antibiotics for H. pylori, which is involved in gastritis and stomach ulcers. And so sort of standard of care is to use 3 different antibiotics. And so they compared Nigella sativa to the triple antibiotics, and they said it was comparable. They also found that this is really helpful, that not only is it antibacterial, but it also works on the biofilm. So a lot of these bacteria, they'll group up together and so create like this mucus film that shields. Like this is really important if you're treating like SIBO or, and I do use Nigella sativa with my SIBO patients. But if you're trying to break down the biofilm, Lyme infections, a lot of different infections, you want to use something that breaks down the biofilm. Like I said, it's very anti-inflammatory. It has unique properties that restore a youthful and optimal inflammatory balance to the immune system's components. So through this mechanism, black cumin seed oil has the potential to mitigate and even reverse chronic diseases like arthritis, allergies, asthma, colitis, and cardiovascular disease. Studies show that it is possible to achieve a better overall immunological balance, one that promotes health and defeats inflammation by supplementing with black cumin seed oil. It suppresses activity of the master inflammatory regulator complex, NF-kappa beta. So a lot of medications, if you do a lot of research, there's a whole intracellular mechanism, including like cytokines and anyways, figuring out the pathways of inflammation. So how does this work? And it affects a number of different pathways. NF-kappa beta is a very important one. Also enzyme systems like 5-LOX and COX-1. These are like inflammatory mediators that are called leukotrienes and prostaglandins. These are other cytokines. So these are things like aspirin or Mobic or some of these other medications we'll go after. So it has a very strong immune modulating property. It's not only does it decrease inflammation, but it also doesn't like hurt the immune system or cause some of the other side effects. So when we say something modulate, it kind of, if something's too much on one side, it brings it this way, or too much over here, it brings it this way. So that's what the modulating action means. And more like a lot of natural herbal constituents will have that type of reaction, whereas a lot of medications will kind of force things down one pathway, but it doesn't have some of the other nutrients to protect against going too far one direction. So again, as a review, these are inflammatory conditions that black cumin seed can help. Arthritis, allergies, asthma, a lot of autoimmune disease, colitis, cardiovascular disease. We know that cancer is inflammatory. We know that a lot of conditions that we think of that are brain related, like Alzheimer's, dementia, strokes can be cardiovascular disease. I mean, the brain and a lot of these neurodegenerative conditions like Parkinson's disease, tremors. So there is an inflammatory component to that, and a neurodegenerative component. And black seed oil, black cumin seed oil, Nigella sativa oil is really good at affecting the brain and the nervous system as well. Okay, so how do we use black seed oil? So the seeds themselves, we said you can use them in your diet, with cooking. So you can be added to casseroles, stir fries, salad dressings. It's often mixed with lemon, cilantro, tahini. It's used in baked goods. Sprinkle them on salads, or even add them to your coffee or tea. They're very small, like poppy seeds, so you could substitute it for poppy seeds. You can also make black seed tea by pouring hot water over the seeds and letting it steep for 10 minutes. Aside from their culinary use, a mixture of black seed, honey, and garlic makes a powerful tonic for soothing coughs and boosting immunity, especially during cold and flu season, as if you feel like you're coming down with an infection, so you can use it in that way. So the oil can be used topically to treat hair loss, psoriasis, eczema. It can be used to mix in with a facial cream to moisturize and soothe your skin. So I mentioned my wife's from the mountains of Austria. They traditionally there would use marmot oil topically to help with pain and inflammation. And so I've used in the clinic mixing the marmot oil together with black seed oil. I do like 50-50. And I've used that for a number of years. I've been out of marmot oils, so if anybody wants to wrestle up some marmots and kind of twist and squeeze them, I could use their oil. Then we can mix them together. So normally, for using it orally, you can do 1 teaspoon 2 to 3 times a day. Each teaspoon is about 4 grams of oil. I will often have patients take 1 tablespoon daily or half a tablespoon twice a day. I have some patients that are doing 1 tablespoon twice a day. So I think the biggest hindrance to using the oil internally is the taste. So most patients do just fine with the taste, but some people have a tough time with it. So, it's kind of like in some ways clove oil. It's very pungent. It has a bitter quality. I had one patient return the bottles to me saying that I gave them gasoline. But the majority of patients do fine with it. You can mix it into yogurts. You can mix it into anything, really.
What do you recommend? Because it no joke, it's tough to just.
So I just do it straight. Like I don't mind it straight, but if it.
Try to get it in and then to immediately take a sip of coffee or a spoonful of yogurt or something. But man, it hung around for a while.
Okay.
And I'm pretty.
You're tough with things, yeah.
I don't know. What's the best way to do it?
So personally, I just do it straight because I don't mind it. But because I think we all have different taste buds. Like I don't have a good nose. We know nose is a big part of taste, so that may be why I don't have much, it doesn't bother me. Because it's an oil, mixing it in something with other oils. So that's where like yogurts, it doesn't have to be dairy yogurt. It could be, an alternative yogurt. That might be a good way to do it. You could mix like something sweet in with it, like a jelly, marmalade, fruit preserve, or if you're a big chocolate I think would go well with it. So some chocolate syrup maybe. Right, traditionally mixing it with honey. So here's something cool. We're going to get into this in a little bit, but because it's so antiviral, that it's kind of like grapeseed oil, or grapefruit seed oil, or grapefruit seed extract, right? Have you used grape GSE before? So I use like a throat spray in the clinic that's here. It's by Nutribiotic. It's just called throat spray, but it's got licorice, it's got grapefruit seed extract in it. It's really, really strongly like antiviral. And it's very healing too. So if you have a sore throat, it'd be great to like gargle with the black seed oil. It's very anti-inflammatory, so like for dealing with inflammation in the gums or tooth infection, people putting like clove oil, thieves oil, on teeth that hurt. But what they've been studying more recently is like for viral infections, and one of the things that can be really helpful for the current pandemic is to prevent, so to help keep the infection from taking hold, both like nasally and in your palate, in the back of your throat, using things like grapefruit seed extract, or using even they talk about using like Listerine. But I like using the spray, and I like using the black seed oil, so gargling with the black seed oil. The studies about using it nasally too, like using oil nasally, and it can be really helpful. So that taste that you're getting it's kind of a good thing. That's its potency. But yeah, if you can't stomach it, take it, especially if you have a tough time, a real sensitive stomach, definitely take it with a meal, because that'll help it sit in your stomach.
What about the capsules?
So you can take the capsules, and there are some capsules here, like Life Extension makes a capsule. There's some other companies that make a capsule, but it's hard to get that same volume. So you have to take a lot of capsules. So that's why I prefer the liquid. It's not any extra concentrated than in the liquid. So I've had patients take the liquid and put it in capsules themselves too. But yeah, and the one that we use in my clinic is the same one. Pilgrim's has a really great source in Israel, really high quality oil. So it's really good quality oil, and I've been using it for years and getting good results with it. So that's another reason why I like to use the oil.
So if you put it in capsules, how many?
That's a lot of capsules. So it's and it's a pain.
If you were trying to get, let's say, at least a tablespoon.
There's quite a few capsules, and if you've ever tried putting stuff in capsules, it's not fun. I used to have I make up some Chinese herbs that are in a granule format. It's like a powder, and so I've had some patients who didn't tolerate that, and I customize it. So there are machines out there where you can put all the capsules down in there, and then the powder you just fill them up, and then there are machines out there. I think with the oil it'd be even more difficult though.
I think it would.
Yeah. So I think if you can't do it through liquid and you want to take it, then I would take the capsules. Just buy the capsules. Yeah.
And there's no problem taking this for extended periods of time?
No, it's been used for a very long time. And what are some of the concerns that you have, right? That it will hurt, that it would hurt the kidney or hurt the liver. Well, we know it's very helpful, the kidney and liver. Now, that being said, I think it's always important to work with a physician to check and periodically look at your liver and kidney function. So curcumin is also great for the liver. There are so many studies of how great curcumin is for the liver, but we'll come across it where it can affect liver function, and liver function goes up, and so that's likely a sign that it's detrimental. So, anybody can react. Anybody can have an allergy to anything. So you always want to be careful.
Absorption through the skin when you put it on topically?
Of course there is some absorption, but I can't tell you if it's enough if you're trying to treat something systemically, to reach your liver. But I do mix it regularly with castor oil and use it for not internally, but castor oil packs. So are you guys familiar with castor oil packs? So the castor oil packs are great. And so we'll use it topically with castor oil and kind of again 50-50, and you put it in the cotton and you put it over your abdomen, put heat on top of it, and you will absorb it that way. And so that would be good for your lymphatics, and that will be good for your liver too. So I think, and we know that it's helpful for regenerating the pancreas. So I think there's a lot of benefit using it topically. And of course you'll have some absorption and it'll have some systemic effect. So I have, couple of things, some potential side effects. Black cumin seed oil may stimulate smooth muscle contraction in the uterus. This effect may be dangerous for pregnant women as it can induce premature labor or increase the risk of miscarriage. Thus, it should be avoided during pregnancy. So I think because it's been used historically that there is some information. Now, a lot of times when something's recommended not to use at pregnancy, because we just don't know. So I would still be careful. If you're on blood pressure medication, it could lower it, so be careful that you don't lower it too much. Anybody can have allergies to anything. If you have diabetes and you're on diabetes medication, you start the black seed oil, you'll monitor your blood sugars because they could drop too fast. It can irritate your digestive tract, causing nausea, vomiting, bloating, and cramping. So if these problems appear, stop using the black cumin seed. But you could always try it again, use smaller amounts, take it with meals, try different things if it upsets your stomach. So 2021, I know we're at the end of 2021, so hopefully 2022 will be amazing. But I wanted to review some of the research that's been done in more recent. So this was a study in January when it got published. So it's the effect of it, a double-blind study for chronic sinusitis. And what they did is they compared it to Nigella sativa or sesame oil, and they used nasal drops of it. I'm not really clear on how they used the nasal drops, what they did with it. I'm not aware of anything like over the counter where we can use it nasally, but I mean, I think, because it's not water soluble, it's an oil. But anyways, they used, it would be safe to use it directly in the sinuses. So that's, I believe, what they did. They used drops and probably worked its way down there. And so they found that it was really effective in improving the feeling of pain, pressure, fullness, numbness, and congestion in the nose. And it also helped with bad breath. So this was a study in, I think it came out in February, but it didn't post until this August. The efficacy of Nigella sativa supplementation for asthma control, a meta-analysis of randomized controlled studies. So here they did a review, and they concluded Nigella sativa supplementation may provide additional benefits for the treatment of asthma. So I think sometimes they were used in conjunction with other asthma medications. I don't usually just use Nigella sativa on its own for asthma, but I usually use it with other treatments as well, naturopathically. But I have quite a few patients who take Nigella sativa, and it really seems to help their asthma a lot and helps with breathing. So we talked a lot about diabetes. This is another study on diabetes, and so I think this is a review. And they looked at the Thymoquinone, and based on these findings, patients with diabetes may use it as an adjuvant therapy, which may help to reduce the dose and incidence of adverse effects from modern conventional anti-diabetic medicine. So in other words, you can use this. Let's say your metformin's not working so well and you want to do something more. This could be something good that you can add. And you can, of course, use other naturopathic or other natural treatments as well in addition to it. Generally, when I'm treating patients, I like to come at it from different angles. So, there may be like for asthma, we know how important omega-3 fish oil is. We know how important magnesium is. So, try to tackle things from different directions. And so here, this was an article, specifically a review of how it can help with COVID. So based on their review, they actually looked at a number of different herbs, not just Nigella sativa, but they were looking at how it enhanced the immune response to CD3 and CD4 counts, to how it decreases viral loads, to how it deals with inflammatory cytokines like interferon gamma, how it affects white blood cells from natural killer T cells to other white blood cells. They did mice studies. They've looked at other, how it's been helpful for other types of coronaviruses and other types of viruses. So they looked at, how it helps with asthma and other inflammatory responses. So this is one article. There's other articles out there. This is another article that was done actually in October of 2020. And they're looking at the pharmacological potentials of Nigella sativa. So they didn't study it specifically for COVID, but they said these are its physiological functions and how could it therefore be useful for today's pandemic. So they looked at the different mechanisms of action with Nigella sativa, and it involved these pharmacological effects. So black cumin seed or its active compounds, they activate immune cells. They initiate antigen presentation system. So they take the antigens from the virus and they show it to the white blood cells. They balance the inflammatory response of Th1 and Th2 cytokines. The bioactive compounds of black cumin seed increase conversion of something called LC32 and LC33. They're markers for autophagy, so to help the cells get eaten and destroyed when they're infected. Black cumin seed decreases inflammation. It helps with oxidative stress, and it increases other types of anti-inflammation. It has a very strong antihistamine response. It's very important for detoxification, superoxide dismutase. It helps with comorbidities of SARS-CoV-2 infection. So it helps with cardiovascular disease, diabetes, inflammation, obesity, all these other things that would make you more susceptible or make the virus affect you in a more severe way. So this is kind of a nice summary. I think it's important to know that, like naturopathically, we need to stand true to our principles when there's times of stress. And so that there are a lot of things that we can do to improve our body's terrain. I've talked about this in other lectures I've done. Michael Murray, a really important naturopath that a lot of people know, he's come and lectured here at Pilgrims. We know that with with any gene, for the gene to have an effect, to create its phenotype, you also need to have the right environment for that. For viruses, it's kind of the same thing. The terrain is really important. How healthy you are. What is your overall inflammatory condition? What we eat, how active we are. What is where's our vitamin D levels? Do we have these other comorbidities that we're not working on? This pandemic could have been a wonderful opportunity for us to get healthier, and we're not really emphasizing that. So I think it's really important to get healthy. Black seed oil is really important, or can be really important to help us get healthy. It can be a useful tool. So, you want to be ahead of the game. You want to use the black seed oil ahead of time if you need support.